the spirit of the people of Korea.
We love Seoul.
I think Kiaf has really created very fertile ground.
Seoul is very important for us.
아시아 허브 기능을 대체하지 않을까 하는.
Kiaf has been a long time successful fair in Seoul.
I have been working with a lot of collectors over the past couple of years. Being here this time, it's my second time in Seoul. It's really nice to be able to go to dinners and go to openings and also visiting a lot of the galleries. This is a solo booth of Seoul-based artist Queenie. She used to live in Northern California. This is actually a booth of reminiscence of her time living in Northern California. So you see a lot of the imageries and motifs and elements in the paintings are actually from her personal experience living in Northern California. So it's really special to bring this, now that the art is based in Seoul, like really bring this booth, bring her time living in the US, living in California back in Seoul and present it here.
It's the first time we are here in the art fair. Korea is a really interesting place because the people is very gentle, very interested in art. The habitude to have a lot of people come to see the space, ask what the artists like to propose. Our gallery is a little bit particular because we have also non-profit activity together. We born with in 1990 in San Gimignano. It's a town of 7,000 people. And for that we have invited the artists from the international contest to continue the history of art in our place. That is very important for us to understand what the artists like to suppose, what the artists have envisioned, and what is interesting to connect the people of every part of the world with the vision of the artist. That I think is a very important point for us.
Here at Kiaf, definitely the age bracket young, and we met very interesting young collectors here at the fair. We have been representing artists from Korea. I really felt we had to give platform to our most important contemporary Korean artist, Kimsooja. And hence we invited her to imagine this solo booth. And so she curated, in a way, a visual walkthrough that really binds all of her practice of this nomadic studio, which really happened between Seoul, New York, Paris, and her global travels, in search for the human connection, basically literally the thread of the needle that weaves life together on these different parts of the planet.
This is Carvalho Park's inaugural showing at Kiaf SEOUL. We're a New York-based gallery. We came to Seoul to introduce 6 of the artists in our program, so we are very pleased with our first few days here. So Julia Silton is creating these portals into dream worlds with fantastical imagery. Her work is informed by a constellation of influences from Greek and Roman mythology, visions of paradise, theatrical set designs in children's fables, and their rendering in books.
We are happy to be here because especially here young collectors are for the first time collecting artworks, and it's great for us to bring artists here and to build up a new substantial audience. We brought as a solo booth Leszek Skursi, which is a Polish painter we presented already for years in Europe in our gallery.
We are a Portuguese gallery. Recently we opened a new branch in Seoul. Our first participation at Kiaf. We are bringing a Portuguese artist, Ricardo Passaporte. He was a graffiti artist before, and slower and slower he started shifting his practice to the more conventional art material. So in his paintings, he mostly does not only oil painting, but also spray painting, which you can see in all of the works. Basically, he does appropriation of street icons, things that you can see very common, very trendy in the streets, and try to make them in the canvas.
Well, Christea Roberts Gallery is primarily an editions publisher. We're an artist-led gallery. We work directly with artists to produce new work with them. So we have artists like Julian Opie, Michael Craig Martin. We have a global artist roster. We deal in master graphics like Picasso and Matisse. But primarily we work with new artists to make new editions and exhibit them as the primary source.
It seems to be there's a lot of people very familiar with art and very curious about it. I'm so glad that we came. You know, it's been a very welcoming experience from the people, but also just the reception of the work that we've brought. This is an artwork by Erica Mao, who is New York-based. She grew up in Maryland in the United States, but her family from Taiwan. And these scenes, while they're totally made up and created from her mind, they do reference the landscape of Taiwan and both the area, sort of suburbs that she grew up in the States as well. And then these very kind of explosive, very psychological colors.
This year at Kiaf we are showing 6 international artists from Germany, the Netherlands, Los Angeles and Budapest, and I would like to introduce you to Ákos Ezer. Ákos Ezer is a young contemporary painter from Budapest, Hungary. Ákos Ezer is playing with the characters and the problems how he sees his country. So you always have the different shapes of the heads, but you also see the red noses many times, which shows a bit the problem.
I think art is a one point of like a bridge to connect the different person in the different part of the world, and that I think is a witness of the universality of the language of the humanity.
We've had a great time here. It's exciting to meet new clients and old friends.
There's no better time than now to be at Seoul.
I'm sure we'll all be back.